Hello, fellow literature lovers. Welcome to our YouTube channel where you get the ultimate destination for all things related to English literature. My name is Harish Nagar, your guide, your mentor. Today, guys, we are delving into the fascinating world of 19th century literature and in which exploring the life and brilliant works of one of the Victorians era prominent figure, and name of that figure is Matthew Arnold. Students, remember Matthew Arnold was born on December 24, 1822. Now, he was born in a distinguished family and growing up in an intellectual, stimulating environment, he attended rugby school and later he pursued higher education at Balliol College, which is you can say in Oxford. Arnold's literary journey began with the publication of his early poems, and these poems you can say influenced by romantic poets like if we talk about the William Wordsworth, and second is Byron. His works, remember this thing guys, started to garner attention for their introspective and contemplative nature. If we talk about his major works, then remember, among Arnold's major works is the poignant poem Dover Beach, and which reflects on the changing nature of the society. And remember, guys, his essays, particularly Culture and Anarchy, became foundational texts in Victorian cultural criticism. Guys, if you talk about the cultural critic and educational reformer, he is also a cultural critic and educational reformer, because Arnold was not just a poet, he was also a sharp cultural critic. His concept of culture advocated for the pursuit of intellectual and artistic excellence. Guys, Matthew Arnold has been called the most pessimistic writer of Victorian age. He was the follower of classical tradition, and Arnold's theory of poetry was that poetry is criticism of life under the laws of poetic beauty and poetic truth. Students, these lines, poetry is criticism of life, that means poetry criticizes the demerits of life, or you can say the vices of society. And when it criticizes the vices of society, it maintains the poetic law and poetic truth. Now, remember students, poetic law is the classical norm of writing poetry, and you can say maintaining structure, or maintaining great thoughts, emotions, expression, or you can say word order, everything you can understand. So poetic law is the classical order of following the style and pattern, and poetic truth is giving the moral message, or you can say the universal message. So the poet's task is to criticize the life, following the poetic laws and poetic truth. So Arnold himself, followed this, and he has written amazing works. But the most important, guys, from if we talk about the net point of view, we have is Dover Beach. And remember this thing, guys, it was published in 1867. That is one of the most read books, and you have to read it. Don't forget to mug up the lines. Students, in the very opening line in Dover Beach, the lover is standing at the ocean shore and he is looking at the sea, and he says that the sea is calm tonight. The tide is full, the moon lies fair. Here he is talking to his imaginary beloved who is there. And he says that the sea, which is actually calm and tranquil means shant, gives us the melancholic message. Melancholic, that means एकदम शांत सा, मतलब एक थोड़ा सा दुख भरा, melancholic message. That means he says that the life is full of tragedies. And here he gives another quotation. Remember the quotation, it is most important. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegon. So Sophocles, who is already is a great Greek tragedy writer, heard the immortal universal message that the life is all about tragedy. He said that Sophocles knew this, that the whole human life is tragedy. So that's why he has written about tragedies. And on the other side, we talk about the Arnold. Arnold says that the sea of faith was once too at the full. So people, they had, trust, they loved each other, they had affection. But now the world that seems to be happy has no love, no joy, or you can say no happiness. He says that the world has become totally fake. And here he gives us a message. Love, let us be true to one another. So the message is that if we become true to one another, we can maintain our relation of love and we can change the world. Very important, students. And he gives amazing example in the last line. He says what? He says that the world is a dark and dismal palace where ignorant armies clash by night. This is an important line. Where ignorant armies clash by night. Here the meaning is that the masses is that ignorant armies clashing by night. Night means the ignorance. They don't know about that why they are fighting for. किस लिए लड़ रहे हैं वो नहीं पता उनको. So he says this is the world of confusion, chaos, and everybody is fighting. Everybody is complaining and everybody is criticizing each other. So there is the world, and all we can do is by being true to one another. After this, don't forget to read Rugby Chapel, important work by Mathew Arnold. Rugby Chapel, if we talk about the Rugby Chapel, is an elegy on the death of Mathew Arnold's father, and the name of his father is Thomas Arnold. Remember, students, Thomas Arnold is the credited with launching the private schooling system in Victorian age. So Thomas Arnold, when he died, Mathew Arnold did not write any elegy on his death. Elegy means जब हम दुख प्रकट करने के लिए कोई पोएम लिखते हैं. Actually guys, Arnold completed this after the death of his father, and it was like take 15 years after his death he wrote this work. But student, listen this thing. The critics complain that why did you celebrate your father after 15 years? Where were you when your father died? And then Mathew Arnold replied, लोगों ने कहा कि तुम 15 साल के बाद क्यों लिख रहे हो? तो मैथ्यू आर्नोल्ड ने क्या कहा? He replied this to his mother, and in a letter he says that I wanted my father to be celebrated by the greatest writer of the age. Now I have achieved that standard. So at that time, Mathew Arnold was the professor of poetry at Oxford and was very much renowned. बहुत ज़्यादा famous हो गया था. After this, there is an elegy called Tiresias. Important. In the NET exam, this has been asked many times that Tiresias is an elegy on the death of, and they will ask fill in the blanks. It is written on the death of a poet, Arthur Hugh Clough, and who has died in 1861. Arnold portrays Clough as Tiresias, who is a traditional Greek name for the shepherd poet. And Arthur Hugh Clough was a friend of Arnold, already very well, and he was also himself a writer in classical tradition. So Arthur Hugh Clough's famous work is, I think, Bothie of Toberna, Vivalich, and Amorous de Voyage. After this, we have next work, which is again, very, very important, Sorab and Rustam. And this is a poem written by Mathew Arnold. It is based on a Persian writer, Fardowsi. Have you ever heard this name? Fardowsi was a great Persian writer, and he wrote a famous book, if you remember in history, it is Shahnama. So Sorab and Rustam is based on Shahnama. Here guys, Sorab and Rustam was father and son, but they are separated. वो दोनों अलग हो जाते हैं. बेटा और बाप. बट एंड व्हेन दे मीट इन द बैटलफील्ड, अब होता क्या है, दोनों बैटलफील्ड में मिलते हैं, वेयर father kills the son, and here we have a great line, most important line: truth sits upon the lips of dying man, and falsehood while I lived was far from mine. There is a famous quotation from the book, and after this, we have to remember the next work, Epidemiocles on Athena. It is a kind of dramatic monologue where Epidemiocles has climbed on a volcano Athena because he wants to commit suicide. And before he commits suicide, he give us a message. It talk about the futility of materialistic life, कि जिंदगी कुछ भी नहीं है, फ्यूटिलिटी है, सब कुछ बेकार है. हाउ ही हैज वेस्टेड बीइंग ए पार्ट ऑफ दिस एंड हाउ ही इज गोइंग टू रिपेंट फॉर दिस. So these are the famous work by Mathew Arnold. Along with these, we have certain other work like Balder Dead poem. It was also written by Mathew Arnold. Then there is a work Culture and Anarchy, book by Mathew Arnold. Most important work you can say, and many questions were asked in NET exam. So these are the works that you can remember from the NET point of view. So that's it for today's lecture, guys. We will meet you soon in the next video lecture. And if you like my video, kindly share with your friends so that they can also get all the things and all the knowledge from me. So thank you, students. Thank you very much.